Today I woke up to a really terrible call from a young lady called Smitha, who told me that many dogs have been abducted from DRDO complex, and this morning they had saved 3 dogs from being further abducted by the garbage collectors right there. These dogs were bound hand and foot, mouth stuffed into 2 plastic bags and completely tied up at the back of a van. They were going to be dumped somewhere in some landfill. And of all the many dogs that have been missing so far, which has been presumed to be, somewhere close by or in the nearby forest, we know what has happened. This is shocking. In all the gray area and the mist and the confusion of the Supreme Court orders, nobody really knows what's happening. But this kind of cruelty cannot be allowed to go on. When dogs are tied up, double-bagged, left helpless, unable to bark, get themselves free, run away, or do anything, with professional people who netted them, used a fork to hold them down while they struggled and finally lay still. What do you think has happened to the dogs that they picked up before? It's about time citizens like us stepped up and did something about it. This is just sheer cruelty. This is no longer just a grievance. And we have written to everybody in Bangalore. I have written to the Chief Commissioner. I have written to the AHVS Director, the Karnataka Animal Welfare Board, the SPCA, the Special Commissioner Animal Health. I've taken it up with the Assistant Director for this particular corporation, which is, as far as I'm concerned, the Central Corporation, where CV Raman and DRDO comes under. I've escalated this to as many officials, including the Solid Waste Management Officer, who is, I think, Mr. Rao, not just to ensure that this is actioned, FIR is lodged, but also to make sure that this does not happen. My strong feeling is, if this is happening here, it is happening elsewhere as well. God knows what's happening with the dogs being picked up in this cruel, horrible manner and being passed off as a garbage collection issue. How horrendous and how heartbreaking is that? I am sitting here with such shock in my heart, wondering how our city can have come to this level, to do these kind of things to our dogs who were neutered and vaccinated and gentle and being fed by people in that area. So this is no longer a grievance. It's a documented criminal conspiracy and a barbaric violation of the law. These gentle neutered dogs, animals that the corporation itself has spent resources to stabilize, to neuter, have been obviously illegally abducted under the aegis of the DRDO campus and by the estate officer. The details are so stomach churning. I've already talked about the fact that they're incapacitated with fork sticks, their mouths and legs bound, and then sealed inside double plastic bags to suffocate. This is not removal or relocation, as somebody tried to say. This is premeditated torture and execution. These dogs would have died in maybe a couple of hours, but very slowly, very painfully. We demand to know who authorized this. Who implemented it, and why is there a wall of silence about the whereabouts of these other animals? There are a few points that has to be noted. One, there has an immediate legal impact and precedence. The illegal relocation of these dogs is a violation of the ABC Rules 2023 and the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1960. It defies the standing Supreme Court orders which mandate that the dogs must be returned to their original location after neutering. The ramifications are that if any official or contractor is found guilty and who has found enabling this, they are liable for criminal prosecution, departmental inquiry, and contempt of court. And indifference from the solid waste management team or other departments does not grant them immunity. It makes them accomplices. The mandatory action items, which is the second thing which we are asking for, is we want criminal accountability. The FIR must be lodged immediately by the concerned assistant director of that region and against all the responsible parties, including the specific contractors and the DRDO estate management. The video is hard to see, but this is where the dogs are being freed. So you can imagine how it was when the dogs were being caught. We need search and rescue. We need a formal investigation to locate the missing dogs. They've been dumped in landfills and forests. They must be recovered and returned immediately, even, sadly, if it is their dead bodies that are being returned. The direct and post-mortem must be done. The third thing is we need to have direct confrontation and a meeting, a formal high-level meeting with the DRDO estate management And I'm sure there are many others like them who are doing this. It's not just the DRDO. It could be other organizations that are doing this as well. And a strong letter of reprimand be issued by the corporation. They must be informed that their campus is not above the law of the land, defense or otherwise. We have taken so much of time and trouble to work our way into the campus in the last couple of years. The CV Raman Squad has worked very hard with the BBMP at that time and the local authorities to allow the BBMP in, to take the dogs in for neuter, for vaccination. Feeding is being done in a systematic manner so that the dogs are at least, well taken care of, and vaccinated and also very calm. And these were really calm and kind dogs, and you should see some of the pictures that we have. The SWM, so solid waste management, which is now a different function, we need to make sure that the top management is contacted and their garbage contractors being used as a front for illegal animal cruelty and killing is brought to their notice and made their problem. The indifference ends now. A formal warning must be issued that this is not tolerable, this kind of business. The SPCA engagement is critical also. Dr. Parmeshwaran, who's a member secretary of the SPCA, must ensure statutory oversight and immediate notification of these crimes. Let's go on to the next thing, because we're going to make sure this is prevented. There's a systemic prevention and public record. To ensure that this atrocity is never repeated, we must have an official press note. The corporation must issue a public statement clarifying that relocation like this and torture like this is illegal and punishable. The institutional notification is required. A formal directive must be sent to public organizations and resident associations that this is unacceptable and will be penalized. Ignorance of the law is no excuse for cruelty. The third thing is transparency. The conference call with the CV Raman Squad, who have been working so hard at this, and the other stakeholders to understand what has already been done and the fact that these dogs are safe, they are neutered, they have been taken care of, and this action is not at all allowed, acceptable, or tolerable. We must have this call to ascertain the facts and identify the chain of command that has failed these animals, whether it is the GBA, whether it is solid waste management, the estate team of the DRDO, and the top management of the DRDO, which is allowing this to happen. And in fact, asking for this to happen cannot be allowed. The suffering of the animals that have been picked up last week, who we didn't know about because, this is a large campus, is on our hands. We expect the corporation to act not just as an administrative body, whether it's a central corporation or whether it is the East Corporation, whichever it is, to be a compassionate protector of the law. The world is watching really on how we respond to this savagery. And this is unacceptable. From the morning, I have called so many people. I have called the central office, Dr. Basavaraj Biradar, and I've requested him to look into this. I've given him a set of instructions saying he has to file an FIR, he has to make sure that the DRDO management is contacted, that the dogs are safe, to find out where the other dogs have been sent, who is the garbage contractor, who is the person in charge. Nothing has been done. 3.5 hours later, he comes back to me saying, I think it is not under our territory, it is actually under East Zone. At that time, I was speaking to the commissioner, Special Commissioner for Animal Husbandry, Mr. Ramachandran, and explaining to him the concerns and worries that we have. He was also deeply cognizant of the fact that this kind of torture is not acceptable, and dogs under their watch, especially since they are guardians of these dogs, should not be tortured or be relocated in this manner. But where are we? From 9:30 in the morning, and it is now 2:31 in the afternoon. What has been done? Nothing. I have sent a message to the solid waste management person asking him to call back. I have sent messages to every single person in the chain of command, including SPCA, AWBI, Animal Husbandry Department, a Special Commissioner Animal Husbandry, the Commissioner GBA, the Animal Husbandry and Veterinary Services Secretary. You tell me. When reasonably connected citizens like us are going from pillar to post, what do regular citizens have to do? Please stop this. Please stop illegal relocation. Please send out messaging that it is not acceptable. Please send out messages that this is punishable. Just because BBMP has become the GBA, you cannot hide under the fact there are now 5 corporations and divide up the responsibilities. What is the Special Commissioner of Animal Husbandry doing if they don't give out a combined message? What is the Joint Director of the GBA for Animal Husbandry, Dr. Chandraya, doing? Where do citizens like us go? And where do those poor dogs who stood there with their mouths gagged, tied up tight, unable to breathe, their legs bound together, shoved with forked sticks into a bag and then double bagged and tied. You see the video of them being untied. Just imagine what they went through before that. And those other dogs, where are they? We don't know. It's on our conscience. It breaks my heart. But as far as the Bangalore corporations are concerned, I don't know whether it'll break your heart, but please let your government systems and processes rise up to protect what is really important: human-animal coexistence. Your department has spent time, money, effort, along with its citizens, in neutering and vaccinating these dogs. They are causing no harm to anybody. Because somebody wakes up in the morning and doesn't feel like seeing dogs on their campus, it does not mean that this can be done. And so cruelly, and so harshly, and so barbarically. Can you imagine being inside 2 plastic bags, unable to bark, unable to move, and dying slowly, minute by minute? That's on you, GBA. That's on you.